The only question you have to ask yourself is, would you make it till dawn? So Until Dawn, based off the video game loosely, there's enough aspects of the video game that of the video game there that if you didn't know what it was based off of, you could probably figure out what it was based off. I've heard someone actually say that if you didn't know it was based off of that game, would you have still interpreted it as that game? And they actually said yes. Real quick before we begin, look, guys, I don't want to hear anything in the comments about, well, it's not even really based off the game, then they shouldn't have made it. Shut up. Sorry, if you're one of those people, shut up. Judge the movie as it is, okay? They took elements of the game, they adapted it for a movie, and quite frankly, I've even heard some people say the movie itself probably wouldn't work as well, or the game itself wouldn't work as well. It's called adaptation. Everything does it. Everything does it. Every great comic book movie you saw was adapted. It's not a one-to-one. You know what happens when you get a one-to-one? You get Watchmen, which even that is not a one-to-one. I actually really like Watchmen, but still, it's still not an exact one-to-one because that squid at the end would have been shit. Let's be honest. So, okay. So, with that said, look, it's adaptation. Judge the movie on its own merits. Now, on its own merits, what did I think of this movie? Well, if you saw my out of the theater reaction last night, you know I liked the movie. I had a good time with the movie. Would I say it's a good movie? It's a very entertaining movie. I would say it's doing the best it can with the material it had and the material it adapted. I would say it's above mid. Like, in terms of entertainment, it's maybe one of the most entertaining films I saw this month. But in terms of quality, well, I mean, it's well shot. The scares work. The acting is good. The gore effects are great. The kills can be quite fun. So I will say it is a solid movie. Good, however, I don't know if I'd go that far. But what is the story? The story is what you see. These five friends are looking for one friend's sister who went missing in a place called Gore Valley. They meet Peter Stormare. He says, "No, up that way. That's where people get in trouble." And they say, "Okay, we got to go find him." And they get caught in this rainstorm. Wind up there, go into this looks like a hotel kind of, but it's not. And as soon as they put their name on the guest list, things start to go dim. So, and then obviously each night happens and they die and they rinse repeat. More and more try to kill them. What this movie does right is it does its scares, the way it builds its tension, the way it does its horror and its kills. It really embraces the horror tropes, both the good and the bad. It really embraces it. This really feels like it feels like a solid mid-2000s horror movie. It really does. In the best way possible. It feels like a mix of Final Destination meets Cabin in the Woods a little bit. In a really good way. And it's bolstered and it's held up on the backs of the fact that while these characters, I think, are just likable enough for you to want to care about at least a couple of them, but then not likable enough that you won't be sad if they die. Be honest, very few of these people are all that likable as characters, to be honest. The main, let me actually get the character's name here. First off, all the acting is good. It works for the movie. Absolutely. Nothing wrong with the acting whatsoever. Peter Stormare is having a great time, but he always has a great time. Peter Stormare is just kind of the goat. Man, I will always know him as Lucifer in Constantine. John. You're the one soul I'd come up here myself to collect. Mm-hmm. I love that movie so much. But no, Clover. Clover is your main character, played by Ella Rubin. She has her ex-boyfriend is there, Michael Camino. Their friend Nina, who's played by Odysseia Azia, who frankly, I thought was the hottest one of them, to be honest. I don't know. I just kind of like that more lazy, not hippie girl, but just kind of lazy, that more casual look. Jin Young Woo plays Megan, and Belmont Cameli, who plays Abe. Yeah, so those are your main leads. Ella's the one who's like, who her sister's missing, and I'll talk more about what the more problems with the characters are when I get to the negatives. She is the stereotypical troubled character, had a lot of mental issues. She just goes missing, and she's just desperate to find her. Max is the pining ex who just wants to do something right to make win his girlfriend back. Nina is just the friend. Like, honestly, she is kind of just the friend. They do say she needs to be in a relationship, so she is very loyal to her friends, which translates to a really fun scene involving a kill, which I liked. Megan is the more spiritual psychic of the group, which is kind of bold, but not. And Abe is the boyfriend to Nina, who is both kind of the one who's in the right at first, and then a douchebag later on. And that's the thing. None of them have character traits that are all that appealing, save for Nina, honestly. Like, Nina's the only one I could actually say I legitimately liked as a person. Take out the fact that, like I just said, she'd be the one I'd be into. But she's the one, like, she's the only one as a person, like, there's no real issue with her. Whereas all the other ones do have some kind of annoying traits or flaws or whatever. But it works enough as a group that you, like I said, you care enough to want to see them all survive, but you won't be sad if a couple of them don't make it. And when the kills come, they come, man. Like, the first straight kill in the movie is a great little, like, oh, shit. Because I'll be honest, I went into this trying to remember, oh, yeah, is this R-rated or not? And then sure enough, when the first kill comes, like, oh, yeah. This is R-rated. Surprisingly, there was very few uses of the F-bomb in the movie, though. There was very few Fs given, literally. But, you know, and every night it's different. Like, you see the maniac in the mask, who's, I guess, like a zombie guy or something like that. The next night, there's, it involves, without giving every plot detail, one night involves that woman with the oxygen mask and like the woman in the mask. Another night involves something I'm not gonna spoil because I'm like, the minute it happened, I'm like, oh no, you fools, don't do that. Sure enough, and then what happened, I'm like, oh well, shit. Another night involves I can't remember every single night, but yeah. And then if you play the game, Wendigos obviously show up later in the game as well. And it's brutal, it's gory, it's fun. There's actually many laughs to be had in the movie too. Overall, I do think it's an enjoyable time. Now, what I will say though is, it's paced well enough, but it does do some things I don't like. Like straight up did not like, or didn't like, but just got annoyed at. One, the amount of the horror tropes. Where I said that they do some, it leans into horror tropes is a good and bad thing. The whole, hey, I'm going to go check it out. How many times does the character say that? But B, the making of the bad decisions. I'm not going to say what it is, but there's a scene, or explain what it is. But there's a scene involving them getting something to drink that I'm going like, don't, what? No. The character of Clover is so desperate, and she keeps making bad decisions. There's one part where she does admit, it's like, this is all my fault. And the guy, like, Max, or it is Max, right? Yeah, Max says, no, it's not. And because we literally just watched this episode with me and my girlfriend of Avatar, that scene where Uncle Iroh leans over to Katara and said, this is all my fault. No, it's not. Yeah, it kind of is. But then you also get the douchebaggy boyfriend being a douchebaggy boyfriend, but he's not really a douchebaggy boyfriend. They're just caught in a bad scenario. The whole shtick of like the spirit, just the tropiness of it does get irritating to a point. But the other problem I legitimately have with the movie, is the fact they don't actually explain how the night's repeating what is actually going on. They give you an explanation of where they are and what happened there. And I'm assuming that, and here's the thing, if this were part of the game, I wouldn't care that much because I know the game would have probably explained it. But I know it's supposed to basically reenact the idea of a video game where when you die, you resurrect. But the problem here is that this aspect is not part of the game, at least. Let me put it this way. It's a game trope brought into a movie that is not given an in-movie explanation. The impliedness is there's something supernatural going on. That's the impliedness. But it's never actually explained what it is. Nor is, because the Wendigo stuff is partly explained. It does actually have a explanation that isn't tied to what's going on with the rest of it. So some type of explanation beyond this would have been nice. At least something. The other thing I'll say too is that a lot of the kills you actually see in the trailer, like, okay, not all of them, but in the marketing, some of the kills you see in the marketing are in the movie, but we don't see that night, what happened that night. Like there's that scene at one point where they say, "Oh, how long have we been at this?" It's been like 4 or 5 times. It's actually been 13. And then they like have a phone. They like show you some of the other times they had been killed or whatever. And like okay, fine. Like there's a briefest explanation kind of near the end where it's like, "Oh no, this is why this is happening." Like, wait, what? But that's not explained at all. Like they don't explain why that is happening. Like they don't explain why that is the reason it's happening. Or I don't know. It's just even if it was a badly written explanation, give me something. Just say we opened them out to hell and demons came out, and now like it's a bad explanation. It's a lame explanation. But there you go. By the way, biggest disappointment for me in the movie, when you see in the trailer that giant kaiju monster that is walking through the forest, that's not part of anything. Okay, now let me rephrase that. It's part of something, but I'm disappointed because it didn't play into like what they're dealing with. And that's, you know what, minor spoiler. This is the only minor spoiler I'll give you. If you don't want me to spoil this, what the giant kaiju thing was about, yeah, just mute your mic here, and I'll put my hand down when I'm done talking. Okay, so they're trying to escape. There's this perpetual like rainstorm, essentially like an eye of the storm scenario, and the rain's so intense you literally can't see through it when you go out there, even in a car. They try to escape, and the splashes into the forest, which is not part of this technically. And there's this giant monster, which I'm guessing is supposed to be a giant Wendigo of some kind. And then they backtrack and they're back where they were. Why? You literally had that idea there and you did nothing with it. I don't know. Either way, though, it was still a decent movie. It was still a fairly entertaining time. I would recommend it if you've seen all the more higher profile stuff. Go see The Accountant 2. Go see Sinners. Yeah, but this is a good time. Absolutely. I recommend it. Until then, though, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. See you next time.